What's up, Christ Redeemer? Time for a gospel grit here. It's been a while since I've done one, but obviously with the holidays and such, I just thought I'd get one in early in the year. I know that many are thinking about their health. They're thinking about how to improve, their overall, condition in life as it pertains to health and wellness. And we're even seeing good things like the elimination of food dyes and chemicals, and just kind of asking the question about what impact does highly processed food have on our health. Things like dementia and amnesia are through the roof. You're seeing early onset cancer and young adults, and just a lot seems to be going and trending in a direction that would communicate we aren't a healthy people at the moment, and the church is not much better. And I think especially in the Reformed camp, because we have such a proclivity to overcorrect, we have this tendency to, well, if people are preaching health, wealth, and prosperity, then we need to preach a spiritual poverty and purely suffering gospel for the sake of Christ. And of course, I have to qualify everything these days, but yes, someone should be able to be poor and have poor health and have minimal material items in this world, and they should still be able to love Christ, to enjoy Christ, to be thankful for Christ. Of course, absolutely no one is denying that. But I think in the time, as time goes on and you, Lord willing, become more mature, you begin to see that, there need not be an overcorrection in terms of the material goods of this world as good gifts from God. God gave us this world. God, placed us as stewards over this world and over the physical realm that he has entrusted to us, his body and his people. And so as I grow in my understanding of this, and I read the scriptures, and one of the earliest heresies was, Gnosticism. Before we even go further into that, just a very quick, that's a very funny word, quick explanation of what Gnosticism is. It's basically a denial of the material, physical good of those things, right? It's the spiritual is elevated over and against the physical. And as I was talking to one brother, it fits perfectly as a pseudo Christianity, because even in the scripture you find things like set your things set your mind on things above, not things below. And there is a higher calling, as it were, to maintain a spiritual life. But any spirituality that doesn't come out of your fingertips is not really spirituality at all. It's Gnostic. So a simple explanation of Gnosticism is a false denial of God's good creation in the physical realm. And of course, we could go further into that and we could elaborate that, but that's just a very, very quick, explanation. There were these, teachers talking about secret knowledge and how you had to come get knowledge from them, and how Christ didn't come in the flesh. He didn't come, in a material body, because that's evil and that's wicked. So Christ was merely a spirit, which lays the foundation for them denying all materiality and all physical elements of this world as a positive good, and therefore they should deny earthly goods and so forth. And it gets fleshed out, funny enough to use that word, fleshed out, because to them the flesh was evil, but it gets fleshed out in its various capacities. And so as I was thinking about this, and this has been a kind of a topic of discussion even within our own church, our people, I was reading 3 John in preparation for the scripture readings, and another brother had even mentioned this book, and it kind of this verse, I should say, that I'm going to quote here, and it stuck out to me, because truly in Christianity we're the only ones that can account for both body and soul. God in the flesh, Jesus Christ, is truly the second person of the Trinity, and he came and he dwelt among us. He tabernacled among us. The Word became flesh. And so it says here in 3 John, "Beloved, I pray that all may go well with you, and that you may be in good health, as it goes well with your soul." And so you hear the Apostle John hoping that this brother Gaius is in good health, as it goes well with your soul. You see, there seems to be a very close connection even here between good health and it going well with our soul. As Christians, without getting into the nitty gritty, I pray this on the Lord's Day. I think as Christians, we have failed to truly account for the physical body that we have given, that we have been given by God as even a method of stewardship to make sure that we are honoring God in our temple. And again, I know all the overcorrections on both sides. I understand it all. People become slaves to their bodies when our bodies should be in submission to us. Yes, I understand that all. And so the purpose of this video is purely to get us to stop thinking in terms of Gnostic categories, thinking that God does not care about the way in which we treat our body, the things that we consume, things like even that which impacts our health. I won't get into the specifics because I think there is some liberty of conscience there, of course, but I think at minimum it would be a win for the church. It would be a win for Christendom. It would be a win for God's people to begin to really think about what it means to be in good health. The apostle here is praying for that good health over Gaius, that it might go as it were well with his soul. And so what does that mean? What does that look like? How can we begin to think not as Gnostics, but as Christians in this physical body, in this physical realm, and say, I am honoring God in this category of life. Scripture actually loves to talk about eating. Scripture loves to talk about feasting. Scripture loves to talk about even the glory of a young man is his strength. It uses illustrations of boxing and athletics as a form of discipline and so forth. So without again doing the homework for us, I just want us to at minimum wrestle with that concept. What does it look like to be a Gnostic, to have Gnostic thinking as it pertains to our body and our health? What does it look like to actually go against that and become more Christ honoring Christians as we think about our bodies and our health? And this will require some homework. It'll require some study. It'll require some work, because we know that there's Christians who are consumed with their health and they think that they could play the role of God and they could live forever if they just do all the right things. And that's not what I'm advocating for. We never become God in terms of numbering our years, and being able to, prolong death or something. But the opposite is not true either, where, the Lord's already sorted it all out. So he's accounted for, my terrible diet and my terrible sleep and my terrible, whatever. And I just don't think that we need to operate, in the extremes like that. And I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. And again, without, doing all the footwork, all the legwork for us, I just want us to think about, as we start this new year, and people are already somewhat thinking about this anyways, and with the prevalence of disease and inflammation and so forth around us, how can we really bring the Lordship of Christ to bear over our health, over the manner in which we steward the bodies that the Lord has given us? It's a prayer of the apostles here in 3 John, and it's a prayer for me, for my own life, for my wife, for my children. I pray that the Lord would give them good health, and I pray that the Lord would give you good health. So, Gnosticism, our physical bodies, good health. What does that mean? Let's find out. Let's do some research. Let's get into it.